Trump's policies, but also to campaign for Republicans in next year's midterm elections. Vice President J.D. Vance dropped by a steel factory here today to trumpet the White House agenda, namely a big, beautiful bill that polls indicate most voters don't like. The visit also gave a glimpse of how Vance will be deployed, not just to sell Trump's policies, but also to campaign for Republicans in next year's midterm elections. It was the second time in 3 weeks that Vance found himself talking up the megabill in a battleground for partisan control of the House. He played defense in Pennsylvania's 8th District this month, offering a shout-out to Rep. Rob Bresnahan, a vulnerable Republican who was in the crowd. Vance switched to offense yesterday in Ohio's 13th District, scolding Rep. Amelia Sykes, an endangered Democrat, for voting against the bill. Read the full story here. 13 hours ago, 6:14 a.m. GMT +7. Share social share icon triggered. Trump troubled by images coming out of Gaza, prompting him to push for more aid. Jonathan Allen, Henry J. Gomez, Monica Alba, Julie Zherkin, and Natasha Koretsky. Trump has long had a keen sense of the power of imagery, and pictures of children starving in Gaza are motivating him to as humanitarian aid efforts there. He was disturbed and troubled by the images, most of which he saw in news clips, a senior White House official told NBC News. "We can save a lot of people," Trump said today during a meeting with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer in Scotland. "I mean, some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it, and you can't fake it. So we're going to be even more involved." White House officials said Trump had previously approved $60 million for aid to Gaza, but that it had gotten little public notice, and that the promise of more food, and a better system to ensure that it gets to civilians, points to ongoing need. House Republican proposals to name the Kennedy Center after Trump and its Opera House after First Lady Melania Trump would violate the law by which the Kennedy Center was created, four sources familiar with the issue told NBC News. Republicans last week passed an amendment through committee that would rename the Opera House after Melania Trump, saying it was a way to recognize her support for and commitment to the arts. The measure, sponsored by GOP Representative Mike Simpson of Idaho, is now part of key legislation to fund the Interior Department, but it would still need to pass through the full House and the Senate to become law. The next day, Representative Bob Onder, RMO, introduced the Make Entertainment Great Again Act to rename the whole center Donald J. Trump Center for Performing Arts. The House has not taken any action on it. 3 former board members for the Kennedy Center told NBC News that the law creating the center prohibited any of the facilities from being renamed, other than the Eisenhower Theater, after the president whose administration authorized its construction in 1958. The project stalled and was revived under President John F. Kennedy, whose family led an effort to get the center built and named in his honor following his assassination. 2 months later, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the legislation making it a living memorial to Kennedy. A new reality is settling in for the global economy. Trump's tariffs, set at levels once considered mostly unthinkable, are here to stay. This morning, Trump said the baseline tariff rate for the world will be in the range of 15% to 20%. Probably one of those two numbers. We're going to be setting a tariff for essentially the rest of the world, and that's what they're going to pay if they want to do business in the United States, because you can't sit down and make 200 deals, Trump added. The statement came some 12 hours after Trump announced an agreement yesterday with the European Union that would charge a 15% tax on products brought into the United States from the bloc. The EU also agreed to spend $750 billion on energy purchases from the United States while investing an additional $600 billion here.